Yeah. Hello, everybody. This is the bi-weekly AWS Cloud Provider meeting. I am your moderator facilitator for today, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. A reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet, and to therefore please be mindful of our code of conduct, which boils down to being a good person. We have a couple of items on the agenda. Please do feel free to add your name and any other items. We actually talked about one before we got the recording started here today, which was around filtering CLB, classic load balancer instances by the cluster tag. Peter had previously sent a PR and suggested that we could actually just close it out as Nick had sent an alternative PR, which we think is a reasonable option. So we've just closed that out. And then we were just looking at some of the other issues that were opened. And I think the first one I thought was sort of interesting. Well, they're all interesting, but I thought the first one was particularly interesting, which was it's number 282 saying that we should remove the hard requirement that the host name matches the ECR pattern. So as I understand it, we are careful to only provide credentials to the appropriate registry. So we won't try to send your AWS credentials to Docker Hub, for example. And the way that works today is there is a regex that matches against the host name. And it sounds like this user, Chaos Puppy, I'm glad the name isn't too, Chaos Puppy has set up a mirror. And so now the image is docker.io/busybox in their example, but they are redirecting it using containerd mirroring to their ECR registry. But of course, we're not going to pass the credentials because as far as Kubernetes knows, when it's pulling the image, it looks like a Docker image. And I think we definitely don't want to be passing your AWS tokens to Docker Hub or in general, like that pattern would be bad. It sounds like there is currently a flag. So, or I can't entirely tell whether they're asking for a flag or want a flag, but it seems like a reasonable feature. I don't know whether anyone is doing this, like Peter, or are you doing this, or Jay, have you heard of people doing this?
No, and in fact, I'm actually a little confused. When the poster's asking for it not to be a hard requirement, what would the behavior of a soft requirement look like, I guess? And what benefit would that have?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what they're saying is that they would want to be able to specify the host name or host names and be able to say, actually, docker.io, I'm going to mirror all of it to ECR. It's actually pretty dangerous, I think, because I think there's no way to say, don't go to Docker. In other words,
because it's the default fallback, right? I mean,
correct. And so I think, I mean, I don't know how much. Yeah, I mean, these are your AWS tokens, so they're not nothing. I think they might be downscoped tokens, but they're still. Or actually, it is ECR, so it's not a full token, is it? Right? It's
no. It's I mean, it's a Docker login credentials token thing.
Right. There's an exchange that happens first, right? So it's not the end of the world. I think it
just wouldn't work obviously on Docker because those aren't.
Yeah, and it does mean that if
Docker I see what they're saying here.
If Docker was evil, they could take that token and pull your images. On GCR, on Google's container registry, you use a Google token, a full authenticated token. So stealing that token is even higher consequence than stealing your images.
So I'm wondering whether the feature request here is actually for the containerd mirror or whether it's for the
it might well
mutating admission webhook.
I don't think I think they're currently using a mutating admission webhook and they don't love that solution. Yeah.
Right.
I think you're right. It might be that this is better done at the containerd mirror level. And there might be such a thing. I don't know.
I mean, that would be the transparent way of transparent to kubelet way of dealing with this, right? Which would basically just be like a rewrite of the image URIs. I'll add a little note in here asking.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Chaos
But
Puppy.
yeah, it might be.
What?
It's a good handle. Yes. I don't know whether there is such a plugin for. I imagine there is a plugin for containerd to pull from ECR. Welcome out, Alexander. We're just going through some of the open or recent open issues.
Hey, hello everyone.
If you want to say hi, introduce yourself, you're very welcome to, but you're not under an obligation to.
Oh, yeah, no worries. So hey there, I'm Alexander Season in it's a French translation of season in English. I'm French then. I work as a DevOps in a small company called Inarex in France, and yeah, I'm the only one. I'm the only DevOps in the team. Trying my best to help.
So you're a DevOps.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Well, and so yeah, I'm trying every day to maintain all the infrastructure, all the applications, and everything, and helps people better understands what do DevOps means, like what is CI/CD pipelines and how to better handle things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been a long time since the last time I went on this Zoom meeting, so sorry about that. And also the first time I got the opportunity to talk about myself, so huge thing. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, and thank you for saying hello.
You're welcome. And thanks for asking. And sorry for being late also.
No worries.
If
you have anything you want to discuss, feel free to add it to the agenda, or just, I guess, bring it up verbally. But
yeah, I was about to talk about docs to know what is the subject of today, if there is.
We're mostly just going through the open issues, making sure that sort of aware of what's going on in terms of things that people have discovered, particularly the open issues on the cloud provider AWS repo.
Okay.
This one.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh, I see the issue in the docs. And so I see you typing also.
Yes.
On some occasion. Okay. That's.
But did you say you had another issue? Another thing you wanted to talk about today?
Not especially.
Okay.
Not generally speaking. Just
No
being
problem.
glad to be part of the debate and see.
Wonderful. Yes, I think we just wanted to. I just wanted to make sure you had the opportunity. That's all. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
All right. Well, so Jay, are you going to comment on the PCR, or did you do it? Sorry, I need to refresh.
No, I haven't yet, because I'm still trying to figure out what actually would be the best solution for Chaos Puppy. in this particular case. So no, sorry, I have not yet.
No, it's fine. I think so we're talking here about issue 282, where when a user is using an ECR Docker registry as a mirror for example, Docker Hub, they can configure that in Containerd. However, Containerd by default won't pass the credentials to the registry, and ECR will say no. I think the request here was to allow ECR to pass it to Docker Hub or some other like list of registries that the user could provide. One of the downsides that we think might be a problem is we're not sure that a fallback wouldn't send the token then to Docker Hub. And then I think Jay suggested perhaps a better option might be to just configure Containerd to do the same ECR exchange to be able to authenticate to ECR. I don't know whether there's any per pod or per namespace like credentials in the ECR credential provider, or whether it's just like sort of.
Is it for the read only, or like we also want to upload? Because if it's read only, then we should be able to allow IAM policies for that, right?
I'm pretty sure I think we're only talking about read only here. It's a good question. I think we're only talking about read only.
Write should also be possible. So like we can use IAM policies, and we can like that's how we allow access to all the ECRs, right? For our cases as well. So
yes,
right.
I think here we're just talking about pulling.
Yeah, I don't think Chaos Puppy is looking for the ability to write anything. It's just it's sort of an odd situation, actually, what they're trying to do. I guess I'm a little
well, it's a reasonable idea, right? It's like you have a registry that often goes down, and why not back it with one that is local and presumably faster.
Yeah, I completely get that, but why not just remove the registry part from the image URI and rely on never mind. I'm just never mind.
Yeah, I mean they have said that like they can do that, right? They can change the like sort of manually rewrite the mirror, but it's a bit of a pain, or needs that admission webhook.
Yeah.
I think if there was I think we should ask Chaos Puppy if Containerd could do the ECR authentication, which I imagine is a solved problem somehow. Then would that solve their problem? And then we wouldn't have to change, like it would only be the node credentials. So if they're somehow doing anything more advanced than that, then we need to rethink. But I imagine, based on what I imagine they're doing, that node credentials are what they want.
Perhaps you could write that, because I guess I'm still
I
not
will. Okay.
grokking.
Yeah, so
This
I'll write
problem
that, and then we can talk about the next one. I think the next one up is add support for ELB session stickiness. So I'm glad you've joined, Kishore, because I think this is probably something you will have an opinion on. So this is 281 user.
sure.
Even
Did you share your screen, or I'm not seeing it here?
I'm not sharing my screen today.
Okay.
My screen's just going way too slowly, and I think I've overloaded my poor GPU, and I don't want to push it anymore.
Yeah,
But I'm
let
putting
me
it in
open up
chat.
the agenda. Sure.
Yeah. Which is around. So the request is, I think, fairly simple, which is on ELB to enable session stickiness. I don't
let me pull
think-
up that issue. Okay, give me a sec.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to comment. I'm going to mute so I can comment without deafening everyone on the 282 ECR one. I assume this isn't in there today.
Is this something that we support in the AWS load balancer controller, Kishore?
We do support in the load balancer controller, correct, for NLB.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if when the user says ELB, where they mean classic, right?
I don't know for sure if Classic supports it or not. I know NLB does, and we support NLB in the load balancer controller.
Classic
link-
supports it, but I'm not sure if we want to sort of go out of our way to support any CLB specific things, right?
Correct. Because CLB is also going to be deprecated, right? Eventually, so it's in the path
Right.
of like going to NLB route. And for NLB, we have load balancer controller for now, where we do support it. So we at least provide some solution to the users. Of course, we have to like have a good story for the cloud provider as well, like the CCM eventually. So
Yeah.
that's the next step that we need to work on.
Looking at the CLI commands, it looks like it's sort of additive. And if it's not supported by the controller, it looks like it's something that the user, for example, could run the CLI commands on it after the load balancer was created. And I think that ties nicely into Jay, your work on the operators. Like, what is the status of the operators? Is this something we can configure with the operators?
It potentially could be, although we don't really have a whole lot of plans to do ELB or ELBv2 ACK controllers, just because the the AWS load balancer controller is already able to program load balancer resources in a Kubernetes native way, as opposed to a CRD based way. The thing that I can, I just don't know if doing it on a classic load balancer is going to be something we're willing to spend resources on. Again, just because it's in the deprecation path. So, and especially since it's supported for sticky sessions, supported for ALB by the AWS load balancer controller, right?
Yes. I was looking at the AWS console. It says stickiness option is not available for TCP protocols. So I don't even know like if there are any limitations or what are the issues with CLB with stickiness. I need to read the documentation for further details.
Well, he's the original poster is asking for cookie-based sticky sessions, so I'm assuming it's going to be ALB. But
the
oh,
link
I
is
see. Okay, it's HTTP, HTTPS. Okay, I got it. So yeah, okay, not for TCP. My bad. Yeah.
Right.
And ALB would have it. If ALB supports it, we definitely support from the load balancer controller, but they have to have a different way to expose it rather than a service.
I tell you what, I'll go ahead and respond on this particular issue and just say it's not something that we plan to support for classic load balancers at this point, and to use the AWS load balancer controller with ALBs. is our recommended approach. Kishore, are you good with that?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm just finishing up the comment here on the prior one. We only have 1 or 2 more issues, so we're doing okay. Let's see. So the next issue that was opened recently, as in like since our last meetings, is number 280, which I will paste a link to. And this is around something called node impairment, which I'm not sure what that means, but I'm going to paste it first. Node with impaired volume, sorry, taint applied when volume attach error is recoverable. So in issue 280, which I will paste a link to, user Austin Takaberry says that they had a node with impaired volumes taint applied to a node, and then the disk immediately attached itself, and so this taint seems excessive. And in fact, they say they have never had a case where the taint was applied and the error was not recoverable. Okay. I'm actually not very familiar with this taint. Is anyone familiar with this? Looks like there are some stream or some other issues. A couple of instances of it, one from 2020. Not a lot of documentation is one of the complaints. Okay, it looks like this is the original PR. Let's see, so original PR is introducing feature is here. And so if a node is stuck in the attaching state for too long, then we mark it as, at least going in the original code, then they mark the whole node unschedulable so that no more pods go to that node. And it doesn't look like when we've set that, we ever clear it, which is also a little. So like, presumably it's not a terrible thing to do if while the volume is taking a long time to go onto a node, if we,
right,
after 5 minutes say, hey, stop putting more pods on here. But then once it attaches, we should probably say, keep going. I'm just looking at the logic here. Apply unscheduled taint happens after timeout, and the timeout is.
Justin, I apologize. I need to drop.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. Good to see you.
You as well, Justin. Sorry for being late and sorry for dropping early.
No worries.
Thank you
Catch
all.
you later. Bye.
It's a pleasure.
We'll probably wrap up here in a minute or two anyway. I think unless anyone has any context on this particular bug, I guess we'll just tag SIG storage, I'm guessing. In that I think this is a generic, I don't think this is specific to AWS. Oh, it is specific to AWS.
I once had the opportunity to have that kind of thing, the same AWS version. But the thing is, it was related to EBS storage that was taken by some other nodes in some other regions, and since that time it was not, and if I remember well, it's still not possible to have read and write access on PVCs, and it was kind of an error, making the node kind of crash. But yeah, as you mentioned it, after that, yeah, 1.14 cube version was fixed. So
Yes, I think
the only thing I can share is that it has been fixed like a year and a half ago, at least.
it sounds like the one you hit was well, it sounds like the one the reporter, the bug reporter hit was just that the timeout was too aggressive, was too short. It sounds like the one you hit is more complicated, where another node had it locked somehow. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, it has been fixed years ago.
Would you mind commenting on the issue, saying like that you also hit this in this other scenario? But it does sound like what they're saying is that the disk was immediately detached, and so we're just unnecessarily applying these taints and never removing them. And I think I kind of agree. I think that's too aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something I can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And then I think we can tag. Yeah, I'm sort of surprised this is in the. Well, I guess this is going to land up in the AWS CSI driver.
Mm.
It feels like it should be more in the storage, in the CSI driver itself, but I can have a look and see where this code is still all there and has moved around, because it feels like it should have moved over the years.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, I don't have a ton of context on it, and I don't think anyone else here. I mean, sounds like Alexandra, you have the most context.
Yeah, kind of trying my best here to respond.
Thank you.
I hope will be way enough and fine.
Oh, it's about continuing the conversation, right? It's about like trying to get more information, understand things better. So even anything is great.
Sure.
I think those are the items. Those are the only open or newly opened PRs and issues. I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to talk about today.
Didn't got enough time yet to prepare that meeting. Sorry. And yeah, most of the time I find a way to fix it. So, and I'm starting to be more available and trying to improve my skills, also in Golang, to be able to participate in those kind of debates, and trying my best to one day, I hope, be a small contributor of Kubernetes. Would be good.
That'd be cool. It is fun. So
yeah,
yes.
well, it is fun.
Anyone else have any other things they want to bring up? Or do people want an extra 20 minutes of their Friday?
Wonderful. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Peter. I'm going to stop the recording.